Rori Harmon. Welcome to the chat. Rori Harmon had a great Thanksgiving weekend, played an exceptional game against UCLA, and then went out and gamed my Gamecocks in the Players Era Championship game on Thanksgiving. And, Martin, it got me thinking when we were talking about, who some of the best players in the country are. Obviously, we had a conversation about what made Sarah Strong the best player in the country. And in that conversation, you and I were like, well, who are some players who could challenge Sarah Strong, right? Hannah Hidalgo's name came up. Lauren Bess's name came up. AZ Fudd's name came up. And then you had mentioned Maddie Booker, and I kind of said, I don't know, because there are some games when Maddie's great, and there are some games where you're kind of like, where is Maddie? And entering this season, Maddie Booker, obviously one of the best players in the country. There's no denying that. She's one of the best players in her class. Obviously, no denying that either. But that is something that you kind of look at and you want to say, well, what does that next step for Maddie look like? And then how does that next step translate to success overall for Texas at their next step as well? Right. And then Rori Harmon comes out here Thanksgiving weekend and kind of lets everyone know, like, hey, like Maddie Booker's best player on the team. Like, I'm here too. And I deserve to be in some of these conversations, as best guard in the country, whatever. And it got me thinking, bro, like, if Rori Harmon's really going to be on this time where she's going to, like, whether it's elite scoring outputs or just being clutch when her team needs her to be on both sides of the ball, and Maddie Booker still takes that step, like, how far really can Texas go? Now, Texas was a Final Four team last season. It was the first time they made the Final Four since 2003, right? So it was a very long time, but it seems like they've hit this stride now. And after Thanksgiving, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking maybe Texas is a true contender. Bro, they beat the second and third ranked teams in the country back-to-back nights in two completely different ways. And I'm not sitting here saying that they're on a level of UConn, because no one's on UConn's level, but I am saying that, like, maybe Texas is a true contender, and maybe last season wasn't just a one-hit wonder, flash in the plan type thing, but maybe they have something they can build on this season and get back to the Final Four.
Yeah, I think so. I think even this season, and I think during this Maddie Booker tenure with Vic Schaefer, they've won over 30 games both years with Madison Booker under Vic Schaefer. They, like you said, they made it to the Final Four last year, hadn't done that in over 20 years. I think that they're building, and Rori Harmon last year, she came back from the knee injury, and it just feels like she's back to like who she really is now. Playing with that pop, picking up people full court, even after hitting a jump shot, right? She is a pest, and she's truly a floor general. She's a really good player. I think, I mean, when I'm watching Texas, watching them over the weekend, I'm more impressed with how they look offensively. And I think a lot of it is just like, again, Harmon is back and healthy. I think Jordan Lee is a big story for this team at the 2 guard as a sophomore. Just her 3-point shooting ability, her scoring ability, it really adds a component to what Madison Booker obviously gives you on the wing as a scorer. But Jordan Lee just looks really comfortable, looks just as much a part of that offense as Maddie Booker or Rori Harmon, and for good reason. So I think they're 1, 2, and 3 at point, shooting guard, small forward is so complete. And then I'm looking at the sum of their parts, bro. I think it's their size and their versatility. By the way, their depth might even get better. They've got the girl Ashley Judd, who's a transfer from Missouri, who shot 38% from 3 last year at Missouri. She hasn't even played yet. She's been hurt. And part of the story in that South Carolina game is that they did it, or was it the UCLA game? Maybe both, but they've been doing it with girls hurt. Aaliyah Crump, their freshman, who's really good, she's hurt. Brianna Preston, she's hurt. So they've had people out. So I don't even think we've seen the full extent of their depth yet. So I look at Texas and I look at their, oh boy. Okay. I think we lost Dwayne Marcus for a second there. We'll try to get him back. But yeah, Texas, I'm looking at their size. Like, I think when I look at them outside of Rori Harmon, they go, oh, there he is. What's up, partner?
No idea what happened. Whole stream just shut down on me.
Oh boy. Good old technology.
Maybe Corey Close came and hit my IP address. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. But so I was just gonna say, like, Texas is looking like more of like the sum of their parts. and their size is like a thing. Their size and their length. I mentioned Jordan Lee, like she goes 6 foot, 6'1", long arms. Like this is part of what I think really bothered UCLA and then really bothered South Carolina. Like Texas has big, long, athletic guards, and then they've got big bodies inside. They've got girls like Justice Carlton, who's just doing a little bit of everything: offensive rebounds, deflections, making little things happen offensively, just playing hard. I think Texas is like putting together the formula of like, because last year they just felt like such a gritty team, and grit is great, but it felt like they just couldn't score sometimes. It just felt like their offense was flat. They didn't really have much of an identity to really lean on offensively. This year, what I'm seeing is a combination of their grit and a little more confidence from players like Jordan Lee. I still love Kyla Oldacre. I think she is such an underrated big in the country that most people don't know about. Another really strong big body, but another skilled player for Texas inside. Between Bria Cunningham, 6'4", Kyla Oldacre, she goes 6'4". I mean, this team is just big, long, and as I was mentioning to you when you dipped into the Matrix there a couple minutes ago, they've got Ashley Judd off on the bench from Missouri, a 38% 3-point shooter from last year. She hasn't even played yet, and she's a senior. They've had another couple girls hurt during, I think, both UCLA and the South Carolina games. Aaliyah Crump is out. Brianna Preston is out. These are rotation players, 2 players who are averaging double figures for Texas. That's another story. They've got 5 players averaging double figures right now. They finished last season with 2 players averaging double figures. So it just feels like there's more confidence, there's more activity, and we may not have even seen the best version of them yet because they have girls out right now. So in the end, depending on how things go, they could shape out to be the best candidate to match up with UConn in the tournament. And, lastly, let's not overlook the dynamic of getting over the hump of beating your the top dog SEC opponent. Them beating South Carolina in that game early in the season is going to be huge for their confidence going forward.
For sure.
I think Texas is really legit. Watching them, they just seem like they have more movement offensively, more confidence, more belief, and they're just long, big, and maybe getting deeper as the season goes on. So I think they've got something there.
For sure. I mean, you take a look at, to your point about like the importance of that win against South Carolina. They still have to play them in a regular season matchup again, and like later this month. They have a game against UNC on Thursday. UNC is 11th ranked team in the country, not South Carolina, but still it's going to be another, so like their 3rd ranked game in the last week or so. So it should be another good test for them. But they're going to see LSU. They're going to see tough matchups, and I think in the same way that seeing LSU score 100 every single game of the season so far is going to build their confidence for when they get their tough opponents. This weekend, to go to Vegas, be the underdog in both matchups, and win those matchups in 2 different ways, I think that's what has me feeling so interested about how Texas can continue. Because it's one thing if you go out there in both games you win off a buzzer beater, because then it's like maybe things go a couple different ways here and there, maybe you don't win that game. But to go from winning the first game because Rori Harmon just took over and played great and had a massive scoring output, to turning around and playing a typical, as I said to you on the phone the other day, a typical South Carolina, Texas game, gritty, low scoring. It was 66-64. Like, it wasn't a high scoring game. Yeah. Excellent defense by both teams, excellent coach game by both teams. And still Texas had enough to get that last punch, which was the game winner by Rori Harmon. They're going to be in that situation again. Likely. Like, Texas and South Carolina don't blow each other out often, right? And when they do, the other game, the following game, is typically a tight one, like the one that we saw last week. So even when you project further out into the tournament, it's like deeper into that even. If this Texas team can maintain this with all that you're saying about them having 5 players in double digits, and some of those players haven't played yet, we haven't really seen them at their fullest and most healthiest capacity, it makes me start to wonder, well, if UConn's up here and we're saying South Carolina is maybe on that tier or half a step below, we have to now say that Texas and LSU and UCLA are all right there if they weren't already like on the same, like we have to say that Texas is all in that mix.
Yeah.
And when you have a player who is arguably one of the best, or not arguably, but is one of the best in the country, Maddie Booker, she has someone playing alongside her who we've seen can kick it up in Rori Harmon. They have a supporting cast, and they have a really good head coach in Vic Schaefer. Why can't Texas be one of the last 4 teams left in the field of the tournament? Why can't Texas make it all the way to the national championship? Like this, to your point, feels like just such a much more complete team, a much more threatening team this season compared to last season, where it just felt like it was a Maddie Booker backpack job. And every time we had Texas going into a big game, what do we always say? The only way Texas can win this game is if Maddie Booker plays out of her mind. If Maddie Booker plays perfect, if she plays really, and now it seems like that doesn't have to be the case anymore. It seems like Maddie Booker can be human, and those around her can still step up, and they can still find themselves and win a match, or win a tight game and compete for a championship. And I think if you're the rest of the country and you're trying to figure out where you stack up against the best teams in the country, and you see what Texas did over Thanksgiving weekend, you look at that and you're a little bit nervous. And I think that's going to continue for Texas. And I'm excited to see just big picture how that can continue for them. Because this is legit. This is a team that legitimately is a contender. And it's funny because when you and I looked at the 1 seeds last season, and they were one of the 1 seeds going into the tournament, the both of us were kind of like, there's one team that's not going to make it to the Final Four. Probably Texas. And then obviously they made it, but it wasn't because we didn't think they were capable of it. It's just because them and what they had and how they looked, we weren't confident. We're not going to be having those same conversations come March this time around if they're the 1 seed again. I think a lot of people are going to be a lot more confident about what they have and what they bring, and that's exciting. It's really exciting. And I think it's going to be, like I said, just great to see how that continues to unfold over the course of the season.
Yeah, I mean, they use the word threatening, and not just because they just beat South Carolina and UCLA, but like just how they look. They look more threatening than South Carolina right now. They're in the next bet. That's why they're number 2 now after the new rankings. Like I mean, again, because of the wins, but even just eye test wise, they look like the next best team after UConn. And I'm going to tell you, Marcus, athletically, just athletically, this is the scariest team. Like UConn doesn't have athletically what Texas has. So there's a lot working for them. I mean, they were in the Final Four last year, and last year they were dead last in 3-point rate. 3-point shooting is one of their huge flaws and huge weaknesses. And despite that, they were in the Final Four last year, but it ran out. And their Final Four game against South Carolina last year was, I don't want to say it was a blowout, but I'm pretty sure didn't they lose by double digits? Wasn't it like
they lost by double digits, but it was like one of those games that was tight, and then South Carolina kind of pulled.
And then they pulled away, yeah, because Texas couldn't score the ball because they can't score, So like, so yeah, again, Jordan Lee, man, that's, to me, that's the biggest difference right now. I know Rori Harmon has been great. She was, AP Player of the Week or whatever last week. She had a big week. Jordan Lee is the biggest difference to me with that team right now at 2 guard.